I'm wishing for thee.
There is a sense of serenity and comfort that few games deliver as effortlessly as the ones from the Life is Strange franchise do. Well, at least in their quieter moments. Then there are moments of absolute angst and sadness when those games take you there, often as a consequence of your in game actions in the past. And then there are those moments that are heartwarming and put a smile on your face with the occasional tears of joy. This kind of back and forth should be familiar to anyone who has experienced any of the three Life is Strange games, often touching on themes that many games rarely dare venture into. The stories told in this franchise are filled with deep personal moments, alongside the supernatural or superpower elements. The latest installment in the franchise, Life is Strange True Colors, ticks all of those boxes in the same effortless fashion the other games did. The end product, while not perfect, is one of the strongest in the franchise, and an experience that takes you on a roller coaster ride of emotions. A ride that you would be glad to have taken. Let me tell you all about it. Hi, I'm Ishaq, and this is the review of Life is Strange True Colors.
So, Alex, the day's finally here. You've been at the Helping Hands group home for 8 years. We've been through a lot in that time.
We have.
And now you're finally leaving to live with your brother.
My brother Gabe.
The story takes place in the picturesque mountain town of Haven Springs, where you play as Alex Chen, a young Asian American who reunites with her brother after 8 years of being in foster care. The small town serves as a backdrop for some serene natural beauty and also acts as a perfect narrative tool to house characters that are part of a closely knit community. The kind of town where everyone knows one another and are rooted into the town's history. Although unsure in the beginning, it doesn't take long for Alex to feel welcome thanks to the loving nature of its residents. As Alex, you begin to appreciate the perks and quirks that can only be offered by a small town like Haven Springs. Chapter 1 out of the 5 chapters in the game lets the player take their time with the setting and the characters, and this leads to some pleasant moments of sibling love and friendship. But with this being a Life is Strange game after all, there is a sense of dread that looms even in these moments, before it ultimately unfolds towards the end of the chapter. What follows in subsequent chapters is probably one of the stronger stories in the franchise, one that is packed with a healthy dose of poignant moments throughout its runtime.
So you can actually feel what other people are feeling?
Yes?
You're like going inside their heart.
I guess I am.
Dude, you have superpowers.
Alex has a secret that she only shares with the ones she trusts most. She can feel the emotions of people in real time, and if said emotion is intense enough, she can live those emotions and learn what caused it, much like being in the mind of the person she is observing. This makes for an interesting game mechanic and is a great, if somewhat convenient tool, since the journey mostly comprises of exploring various emotions. Gameplay-wise, it is a tried and true Life is Strange affair, with a quasi-open world to explore and interact with, while engaging in events with characters that provide choices along the way. These choices can sometimes have significant effects on how the story plays out, and this makes a second or third playthrough well worth your time, just to see how these choices branch out.
Is this the first official stop on the tour?
Absolutely. If you follow me inside, you'll find our prize exhibit. Gabe Chen buys makeup flowers for her angry girlfriend.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's gotten so-so reviews.
Alex's phone is used to great effect in strengthening the sense of community through text messages and posts on social media. These interactions not only stick to the context of the current events and offer hints for certain quests and items, but also provide insights on how other characters view the same event through their eyes, while at the same time adding to the setting's lore. Her phone also serves as the in-game checklist with objectives and tasks to complete. Through Alex's story, there are some cleverly designed scenarios that act like puzzles, but almost all of these scenarios boil down to using Alex's powers at a certain moment and asking the right questions. The town of Haven Springs is a delight to navigate, but there are some sections where faster movement is sorely missed.
I'm okay.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
The main plot has its ups and downs through its 5 chapters. The plot moves at a relaxed pace at any given time, but can sometimes grind to a complete halt when the player is searching for what to do next. I spent a good 15 minutes trying to find a character whom I needed to speak to in order to move the story forward. I eventually found them in an alleyway, and the game did show that character in a short cutscene just before the section began. But this could easily be missed, like in my case, and a simple audio cue would have helped here. In hindsight, the lack of audio cue could have been a bug, as there were clues in other sections similar to this one. There were also a couple of instances with a sudden shift in tone. For example, one scene awkwardly moved from grieving someone to exploring romance options. This may have been the result of the choices I made in the game, but the experience was jarring nonetheless. To be fair, these issues were caused mostly due to the inherent design of the game rather than a narrative flaw. Also, these instances were few and far between and were not significant enough to take me out of the experience. What would probably hook the player to the story are the characters. True Colors features characters that are grounded and as true to life as they get in the medium. They feel like real people with real problems, fears, aspirations, and flaws. These qualities are cleverly accentuated through side quests, although the quality of these side quests range from the sublime to the silly. Some of the key characters don't actually turn out to be who they were when we first met them, and this kind of character complexity has been put to good use in driving the story forward.
Welcome to Haven.
If it wasn't clear before, Haven Springs is a gorgeous little town to hang out. The outdoor environments make you want to open a portal and get into that world. The franchise never went for photorealism, and that applies to True Colors as well. But the art style employed here really sells the town's beauty and serenity. Voice acting and performance is exceptional across the board. Facial animations are also top-notch, with various expressions conveyed with utmost subtlety, although lip sync can sometimes feel a bit off. The package as a whole feels more polished than any of the previous games in the series. There are some issues with presentation still. Visible texture popping can be found in many of the scene transitions, an issue that has been prevalent in the series from the very first game. And the prompts to interact with an item or character sometimes appear off screen and requires adjusting the camera to simply see what the available options are. But, like the narrative issue I mentioned earlier, these are not significant enough to hinder the overall experience of the game.
How do I change all of the pain?
Life is Strange True Colors is the most polished game in the franchise yet, but it's not without its issues. In typical Life is Strange fashion, the story features a cast of relatable characters that have you care about what unfolds on screen and make you wonder if the events in motion are a direct result of the choices you had made earlier. This is a quintessential trait for the franchise, and True Colors is better for it. Overall, this is a solid entry in the franchise, one that sets out to take you on a journey filled with a myriad of emotional highs and lows. A journey that is certainly worth your time and money. The answer to which game is the best in the series is still open for debate, but True Colors certainly makes a compelling case for itself. And that was the review. So, what is your take on Life is Strange True Colors? Have you played the game yet? Or any of the previous games in the series? How do you think this series stacks up against the Telltale games? Sound off in the comments, let's have a conversation going. Until then, I'm Ishak, and I'll see you on the next one. You take care, stay safe, and keep gaming.
Gabe Chen, flower delivery man.
I know, right? Let me duck in here and smooth everything out. It'll only be a minute. I'll introduce you properly later. Once,
It's no problem, really.
It's gonna be longer than a minute. Trust me.
Oh, hi there.